Object lessons are a big, because you can go online, just Google YouTube, object lessons for Paul and Silas, and sometimes a lot of things will just, I mean, sometimes it's just unlimited what you can find. And some of the things I'll show you when she was talking about Paul and Silas, this is like one of the documents that I put together for our Sunday school department. So like lesson resources, the Lord's Prayer Beads. There's actually an activity over there, Sister Sarah, with that prayer box there. For prayer beads where like each bead represents something different. So that would be like when they were, I was, even like your 6-year-olds could do that. We actually done a whole lesson on a series of lessons on prayer, talking about different people from the Bible, which was like Hannah, Daniel, Paul and Silas. We talked about Jesus when he prayed into the garden, everyone was assuming when he got ready to go into Easter. And some of the activities that we know, we actually done prayer cards. These cards, and I'll pass this around, where each finger like represented something different that we actually gave our kids, you know, where they had something to take home to help jog their memory about what each finger represented when they prayed. So I'll just pass that around. Let me grab that activity. But this one here, this is about the Lord's Prayer Bead, where like blue, purple, green, gold, pink, orange, and yellow, where it tells you what each bead represents when you're teaching the Lord's Prayer. We actually, I put this document together, I teach our children to pray. So actually, when Dr. King to come up with some of the videos, like one of them was like gratitude, like your smaller kids giving them binoculars, toilet paper rolls, make binoculars to look for things, about things that they're thankful for. Prayer stones, there's actually, we have some stones over there which are, our, like 11 or 12-year-old class, they actually done this on Sunday morning, where they would actually have the stones, where each stone, you know, jog them, you know, brought to their remembrance what they have to ask God and pray for that day. We actually do a healing station, and you'll see the pictures of that, where in that box right here. And one of the classes, I think Sister Sarah's class and another class actually done this, where you're teaching the kids to pray. You give them a band-aid. Somebody who's sick, they can write their name on it. They get a little bit of anointing oil. They can put the oil on the hot carpet, and then they can take it to that person inside the church. Or you can have a big old heart on your door in your classroom, and you can see these band-aids on that heart, so that when you go in there on a Sunday morning, you know who you're praying for. So I'll pass this around, and I actually have 2 copies of this. And I actually have a Google Drive forwarding right, so if you leave your email address,
that's what I was asking you, because
all these documents will be in this drive, and you'll have
all these documents you're showing us today.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I'll pass this around while I'm talking. But this is actually what's on one of our classroom doors. You can actually see the heart with all the band-aids. The gratitude, you actually see where our smaller kids, where they actually have binoculars, where they actually done in class for the kids to take home. Another one was like counting your blessings. We actually have Legos at our church, or blocks. Sometimes in the children's church, they'll use the Legos to build, like one Sunday they talked about Rahab. After the lesson, they were actually able to take the Legos and build the tower of Rahab's house. So that was just like an add-on when they had like some extra downtime. They could actually do something instead of being all over the place. But in our, I think our 5-year-old class, they had just the blocks, every block they picked up, they talked about something they were thankful for. And this is actually our 15 class I was talking about, where they had the songs where they go across and have to sit in the table, things that were going to be prayed and asking God for. I forgot to grab it, that church, I went to Dollar Tree. And I know y'all seen that, there's a crack section, they got those little square wooden boxes. I got a little tomato sauce about that big. I just glued them together, and I had got some cardstock, and they kind of like little pepperonis, but it's cardstock. I just glued them together, and I stuck them in the clothes. And then I cut the strips of different colored paper out. So every time our kids come in there, and I tell my school son, if y'all got somebody who needs to pray for, and you want to be one of us to pray for, write your name on the strip, roll it up, and put it in the church house. So that's what they do every morning, every Sunday morning. If you don't just take them in, I try to ask them, is anybody needs? We need to write down and have prayer for. And then we strip it, and I keep it on the table. I said, look, even if I'm not here, well, I don't forget, I forget to remind you. I said, there's somebody you want to pray for. I said, here's the strips of paper right here, pencils. I said, right here, go right here, and put in a prayer cross. I wish I could grab it on the way out and say, just something as simple as that. It don't cost a lot of money, just to keep your kids actively praying about somebody. We had. Most of the time, if I had to come pray for their dog or their cat or something like that. So I said, I know you love your cats, I know you love your dogs, I know you love your kids. I said, let's keep it towards people, and let's keep our prayers more towards the people that be in our lives that we know need prayer. So they just jumped on it. They got their little pencils and they just went to town. They said, can I get another one? So some of them do like 2 or 3 strips, just people that grandparents, mom or dad, whoever it was in their life that they wanted to ask prayer for, that's what they done. So just something as simple as that. And it don't have to be across, don't have to be maybe be a prayer stations, just right before school started. That's our Sunday night service. Yes. And what we did was, we always do a back to school bash for our kids, every year. So we took that Sunday night, and I can actually I'll share the document with you because you can do it anytime. So like one of our stations was praying for your school, praying for the leaders of your school, praying for this not just your school, but the whole county, the SRC as a whole. Another station was, even though they didn't know who their teachers were, praying for their teachers, writing blessings to their teachers. Another station was actually praying for friends. We actually have a prayer wall in our hallway in our children's department where the kids we gave them a piece of ribbon and with like acrylic markers. And they wrote their friend's name on who their friend was going to be that school year. Well, we actually are covering them in prayer. Because we want our kids, we want them to be good people. And we know that when they go in the school system, everybody's morals and values are not like ours. So, but, we can cover them with prayer. And I believe, God's going to honor our prayers, and those prayers are going to follow them to school. We actually had another station where our evangelist in the past, where the pastor was out sick, where they were in the sanctuary, they were praying for the family unit as a whole. Another station was, we did backpack lessons where they actually brought their backpacks. And we're like every department at our church, whether it was our ladies department, our men's ministry, our children's department, we were putting things inside their backpacks. So like our children's department, we actually did prayer pillows, and I'll pass this around. There's actually a cross on the inside of it, and there's a little sentence, a little hug from God to carry you through your day. May the presence of someone praying for you bring you comfort, hope, peace, and safe. Found in each stitch created especially for you. And then there's actually a seal on each of those prayer pillows. My sister-in-law was passing out prayer cloths that she had everyone to pray over. I myself was going to the Mustard City vows. This was actually a Sunday school lesson of ours a few years ago when we talked about Mustard City. So I actually made each one of the kids in my class a vow. Just a book vows from Amazon. The little picture on the inside, I just went online and got a little picture, had Facebook Mustard City, shrunk it down and cut it out.
make multiple copies of it. These items are encouraged, these I did for the back to school, so they had kind of cool on the ones for my kids are actually glued on the pieces. But these I just dropped the little mustard seed. It's in there somewhere. I just dropped the little, I looked for something in it. I just dropped the mustard seed in there. Each one that came through the prayer stations, the one that I was in, got 85 mustard seed in. My gift, I just tied a string around it, actually took a screwdriver and pushed a hole through it and stuck the string in there and put it in there. So I gave them, not this year before last, each one of them got it before they started school. I told them to make sure they water it back. And this year I just gave them the valve itself and told them they could just make sure they put it in the little bags. So that's one of the things that we added in addition to the prayer. So I'm gonna pass this around, and if you guys want one, you're more than welcome to have one. I'm gonna hold on to that. That's a good one. Just look, make sure the seed's in there.
And another station we had, we did like a brown craft paper, and we would just take it to the phone board, and the kids actually wrote their prayers on the craft paper. So we actually have, we're going to put that together, and it will display on all at church.
And the one Sister Rick was talking about where they wrote the name of their friend on the ribbon, we actually had a fishing net. We got some boards and attached the fishing net to them. That's what they tried to friend's name to. And once they done that, we gave them time to do that, and then we went on and finished the prayer session. It turned out way better than what we thought it was. That's the first time ever doing it like that. The Spirit of God just fell, and it turned out way more than just a prayer session.
And actually, what I did was I got this from Dollar Tree. Just played on it, we just tied some boards, and this is what the kids tied their ribbon to. While you guys, another thing we talked about while we're talking about prayer was like listening to God. So there's actually there's a game that you can play. It's called Bop It. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's a game that you can buy at Walmart, or I think it might be Amazon. But here's the instructions for Bop It. It tells you what to do. It's like you just do exactly what it says. One of our other classes, they actually took a blindfold. They blindfolded the kids or the adults, and they were telling them exactly where they needed to go to find something in the classroom. So that they would actually have to listen to the voice of God. Just like when we're praying, we have to listen. You know, that's what they were teaching them to do. When you pray, sometimes you just have to listen. I'll pass this around. And actually, y'all, if you want it, like I said, I can put this in the computer drive and you have access to it, but it's a lot.
I'm not sure what she's done recently.
Yeah, so we can use this like with the younger kids, with your 6-year-olds. It's just another visual of, you know, how we have to, we've got to use our ears to listen to God. That's right.
We did do a prayer pretzel. I don't know if y'all can, have you ever seen this little activity? The kids they love the prayer, but they love the pretzel better. It's actually a little story about the pretzel where it tells you how it's folded together and represents the arms and the hands coming together to say prayer. So we actually, I think we use Sermon for Kids is one of the places we go to get our kids Sunday school lessons. And
our church actually does a subscription to Sermon for Kids. Our church uses Lifeway, but our children's department, we actually put our lessons together. I put our lessons together for our kids because kind of at one time they was getting kind of bored with, you know, and you know what we had to do was like have some workshops to get our teachers, you know, out of the routine of doing lecture style teaching and do interactive Bible teaching with our kids. Yeah, because there's just a lot of stuff that we have left over. And there's actually another website that we also use in addition to this, and it is free. It's called Truly Kids.
oh yeah.
And their lessons are phenomenal.
And they have a lot of activities they can do too.
We did the same, 2 years ago, we did the same, and we changed from lightweight to something called group. Very interactive.
What did you say was group publishing?
Group.
I bought some things from them too.
I used to get some master ideas off of Pinterest.
Yeah, Pinterest, okay, that's what I'm, yeah. I got a whole thing that's like children's ministry. What did you say the other website was? True Way Kids? I pulled up one of
And
those.
sermon for kids with the number 4, right?
Yes, sermon for
kids. We do better Bible teaching. Better Bible teaching.
And it's, to me,
Paula said they had better
But now, when you go to True Way Kids, they have it for 5-year-olds, they have it for babies and toddlers, they have it for teens. They will differentiate courses for all 3 of those age groups. Just click on the link, whatever you need, and just print it right out.
object lessons too.
Sometimes there's object lessons embedded into that.
The True Way Kids, sermon for kids, and what we're seeing the other one.
Pinterest is another website, group publishing,
Group publishing, better Bible teaching, better Bible teaching.
Better Bible Teaching. And Ministry to Children is another one that I go to sometimes, ministrytochildren.com.
Yeah, I use that one too.
But now this one here was on Hannah, and we were talking about prayer, and I forgot let me see what age group this was for. And this is just a regular download. But you'll see where they actually have the stories you can print out for the kids to take home. There's games and activities,
That's that True Way Kids.
This is True Way Kids.
And you said y'all have a subscription to it?
No, not to this one. This one's free.
Oh, okay.
This one's free. Now, for Sermons for Kids, we actually do a yearly subscription to that one.
That's what I'm doing
And this is our baby and toddler class. They've done this where they actually make the telephones with the paper clips. Like talk up to God.
Oh, yeah, talking to God, because we have a hard time getting ours to pray.
Yeah.
But now this is
Getting them to pray.
But now they have lessons from Old Testament and New Testament.
Third and fourth graders, 8 and 9-year-olds.
Okay, I have third, mine's second, third, and fourth.
But I was thinking even some of the things like the Band-Aids, like that could be their way
Yeah.
of contributing to a prayer without having to put them on the spot.
right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they don't like to talk out loud.
I pray out
Oh,
loud.
yeah, most of that, they're kind of shy around.
Yeah.
They don't think they're doing it right.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we do have maybe 1 or 2 that's bold and brave and they volunteer.
Yeah, no, we
But
do.
the rest
We
of
have
them, they
a
just
few
come
that
and
would, yeah.
know what everybody is.
You want to get that Faith Action Bible, Sister Sarah? Okay. Now, last year, every year we do a Sunday school teachers appreciation dinner because I think in October is like National Sunday School Appreciation. I think it's the second Sunday in October every year. But we actually bought these for every one of our teachers. I don't know if you've ever seen this Bible. Our teachers love it. But it's like a Faith in Action Bible. And it kind of like breaks it down, to where they're understanding.
I've seen one of them in Walmart.
But I'll pass this one, but our kids love this Bible.
Say it's faith in action.
And our teachers love it.
We do on Sundays, we do the lesson that Sister Nita has got for the group, and on Wednesday night, we're in between. If we can find a story in there that correlates with the lesson that we've done for that Sunday, we usually typically do that one on Wednesday night. We'll read that story Wednesday night just to recap what we went over that Sunday. If we have time, we may do it that same Sunday morning. It just all depends on what our time is tonight. But if not, it'll transition over to Wednesday nights. And those kids, most kids love that comic. They love that comic look on there. So, and they'll sit right there and just look like they just hadn't said it, like that's the best thing in the world. But we typically find a story in there to go with whatever story that we're doing.
And did you say you had those Bibles for each of the children?
No, that's
No,
for our
just
teachers.
for
We got it for our
For
teachers.
your teachers, okay, faith in action.
I don't know if we'll be able to hear this tonight, but this is actually where Right there, probably this is. So this is like some of our prayer stations on Sunday morning, that was done in our classes. And then this class right here, they actually do like an object lesson. I think it might be Jello or something, they get to shape it like when you hold something in Jill. And then they begin to shape like a Jello, and then they put it inside the ball get filled. But this was our final 6-year-old class. But that's the actual picture I found. And this is our 12-year-olds, but actually done the palm sizing. We gave them pepper cartoons and then made the chains. So this is the activity I was telling about like listening ago, where they had to actually, they blindfolded the person and they were telling them where they needed to go. I hate that you can't hear them actually talking.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay.
So he was trying to figure out.
Yeah, the kids were telling him where he needed to go.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They were telling him, live, right.
Right, yeah.
And he was having to listen to them.
And those printouts you passed around, would they be on this Google Drive thing?
Well, yeah, actually, you can, these are extra copies if y'all want.
Already, I've got some of them, sure, okay, I will later.
Is it playing sound from the laptop?
Huh?
Is it playing sound from the laptop?
I've got it, because I got it plugged into this. Well, I gotta have to put it in the truck. So then they can get it.
Okay, so.
You don't have one in here, do you? Auxiliary
Sir,
cord.
you said you do these activities during
Yeah.
school time?
Most of these are done during. So we have to call one more time.
But we actually just changed.
We have like 30 in May.
On Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
Well, that was our case too, and, what we changed just recently was instead of going to the sanctuary, like they normally would, they should do, this is what's going on out there. The preacher agreed to let our teacher go back to class, so we're not going to do something. But we still wait and do our activities on Wednesday night with them, and that gives us more time to be elaborate on our lesson, go over that, and we just do some things with them and whatnot. But, yeah, that was our problem too, because sometimes we wouldn't get some of this class, because the spirit will fall out there, and so some they do it and get to Sunday school class.
Yeah.
So, Sister Nita had spoke with the priest, she said, I think teachers that work and study so hard to prepare for these teachers, she said sometimes they don't make it, they don't get through their lessons because they're not able to make it, back to Sunday school, so he agreed, no, they come on back. So as soon as they get to church on Sundays, they go straight to Sunday school class. And usually she'll have, a little activity for, like, whatever lesson we're doing for that Sunday, she'll have a little worksheet or something just to keep them occupied till all of us get there and get started with that.
Almost like homework.
Yeah, almost, yes, ma'am, because we have some kids that might get there like at 9:30. Most of our teachers don't get there till about 10. So Sister Nita gets there early anyway, so she said, okay. So she said she would just have something handy for those kids to do while they're waiting on the rest of us to get there. So that's actually something that's
Now, we have Sunday lessons, they're from like the regular Sunday school books.
summer for kids.
All of them are from
Just
Sunday
about
for
all
kids,
right
okay.
for summer for kids.
So she does the lessons for Sunday and for,
It's
and then
got-
Wednesday night just coordinates with.
Right, right. It's got a calendar on there. You can go in and put what lesson you're doing for that whole month. And it'll send you an email, let you know this is a Sunday school lesson you're doing for Sunday. For some of us who forget what Sunday, what
And that's
lesson
on,
we're
and
doing.
that's on that summer for kids.
Summer kids, yes, ma'am. And just about any lesson you would want, just type it in there for search and it'll come up. Same thing with Two Weeks for Kids. That would actually, the Summer for Kids also, in addition to the Sunday school lesson, also has activities that go along with it too. It has, like worksheets, cover sheets, puzzles, it has games you can do. You just kind of look at it and see what you're able to do with the resources that you have in your class. For some of the games we don't have, well, I don't have a lot of the resources going on with it, so I look for something else that I know I can do with my kids. It don't really have to, it's not cut in stone where you actually have to do all the activities and stuff in there. Same thing with the object lessons Sister Nita talks about. I always try to find an object lesson to go with my lesson if I can. Sometimes I can't, like we just got through doing the armor of God and fruits of the Spirit. So, well, fruits of the Spirit, I was able to find some object lesson. All I do is go, I got a bunch of Bible lab books in order from Amazon. I mean, stacks of them, and Sister Nita, we got stacks of them. That I just go through there and see if there's anything that correlates with the lesson that I'm doing. But if not, I just go on Google, object lesson for helmet of salvation, and it pulls up, and you look and see if it's something that you think you can do. A lot of those things now, I just look at it like,
Yeah, it takes, a lot of it's got a lot to do.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then some of them were simple, like I think it was, matter of fact, I did one with my kids, we were talking about, we actually talking about the whole armor of God, the whole armor of God, and then last week we broke it down to be each individual one. For a couple of Sundays. But the one that I did, I actually boiled an egg. There was one on there where you're using orange. And when you drop the orange in the water, it floated. And that represented the armor of God. You're not, you got your armor of God. So when you're in the world, you're not of the world, you're not consumed with the world as long as you have the armor of God. But as soon as you start peeling, start losing your pieces of armor of God, then you'll sink. So I actually did one with a boiled egg. I didn't know how it was going to work. So that was I was a little anxious to see how that was going to go. And I got to school, at church, but it actually turned out pretty good. I did, once I boiled my egg, I kind of drew the little armor on there, and a little person and everything on that tiny egg. So I did, and I had a jar, and I put some, water in it and blue food color. I think that's the color that I chose. And as I spoke with the kids, and we said, you gotta do your whole armor, God, you gotta keep on your whole armor, God, you gotta keep on your helmet, your breastplate, and we just went through the whole thing. So why? And we asked each one, well, what does the helmet do? They said, it protects you. I said, protects what? Your brain. It protects your brain from who? Satan, yes! We just kind of we just kept going on and on. And then I said, okay, now. I said, Satan comes to you and says, you ain't worth anything. I said, you start believing which is your salvation. It just sat there. Sat there, you come back and tells you got no blue, and said, it's right there. I said, you just lost your breastplate. And I just kept doing it, for after a while, all the was gone. And I said, no, without your armor, I said, when you start dealing and seeing, living in the world, dropping in that jar, I said, what you think's gonna happen? Well, before I get that, though, I said, so every time you don't have your armor on, so every time Satan comes against, I said, it's torture. And I just kept hitting that little egg in all different places. I said, and after a while, you just become so consumed with the world, I dropped it in that jar with the food cooler. And then I left it in there for a little while, I kept holding, and then when I finished, I poured the egg back out, and I cut it open, and the dye had gone into the egg. I said, so when you allow Satan to come in and convince you that you don't need that armor, I said, this is what's going to happen to you. When I opened that egg, the yolk in that egg had started turning blue. I said, that's what happened to you. I said, sin takes over. I said, you're not the same person. I said, things are hard. I said, they're hard anyway. I said, but now they're really hard. I said, because you don't have the power of God. So and I told Sister Nan, I said, God just gave me that. And I said, God, what can I do to help these kids to understand this armor that you're talking about? What can I do to explain this to them? And he just dropped that. And I told Sister, I said, he just dropped that in my spirit. And I said, okay. So I just went and boiled my little egg and then hold it. But even if sometimes you can't find what you're looking for, pray that God can give you some God to help you. I don't know it all. And sometimes I struggle. I'm sitting there like, what can I do to explain this to these kids? How can I explain this to these kids? Like, fruit of the Spirit loaves. I was reading this lesson, I'm like, how am I going to explain this to these young ones? I'm like, how can I explain it to them if I don't understand it? I said, help me understand it. Give me wisdom and knowledge to be able to understand it so I can explain it to them. I said, because I'm held accountable. I said, if I can't explain it to them the way your word says it's supposed to be, I said, I'm going to be held accountable. I said, please God help me. Please help me. But I'm all the time asking him for help to show me and lead me and guide me to be able to explain it to either. Sister Tab, she's my co-teacher, she just has a way of breaking it down so those kids can learn. She just amazes me the way she breaks things down to their level where they can understand it. And I'm just bad as the kids. I'm saying, I'm just listening to her talk because she's amazing. She's amazing the way she breaks it down. So God's got things for each individual. I'm not good at that. She is, but I'm good at the creativity part. And she don't like doing that. She's not good at the object lessons, but she's able to break stuff down and explain it to them kids when they understand. Having one little girl, she said, I don't understand that love. When we were talking about the fruit of the Spirit between God, the Father, and the Son, she said, I don't understand that relationship. But we're talking about a fourth grader telling us she didn't understand that relationship between God, the Father. She said, how can God be God and Jesus is God and the Holy Spirit? And she was saying, and Sister Tab just said, okay, hold on. I mean, because I could see the lost look on that child's face. And when Sister Tab got done explaining that, she said, okay, now I understand it. And she was good to go, so.
Yeah, she's one of those people, she doesn't talk in like a regular voice. She's able to like step out of character, and I'm talking about to where kids understand. Change the tone of her voice and everything, just get down to their level.
And that's what she does. She said, y'all know I'm getting real with you. That's what she said, and she just goes to town. She's just Y'all have any other questions about anything? We're definitely not done, but if y'all have anything, burning question you want us to address while we're going to the next stage, just holler it out.
And this is another one we've done on blind Bartimaeus, since we were talking about, and one thing is, take a can. I think we've done this one in children's church too. Just anything that you can put in the can and make noise, because that's what blind Bartimaeus is, he said it, where he did, So this is like,
That one I did, I blindfolded, we had somebody to blindfold me in class, so that's what we were, with blind Bartimaeus, was sitting up there with blindfold and out in there hollering for Jesus.
so like every class, they've done something, where they took a box and they hid things inside the box, concealed it, where the kids actually had to stick their hands in and try to figure out what it was. The box that you just seen was like a see-through box, so like our smaller kids class where they were actually, we had artificial snow. It's like, you can put water on it and it just kind of multiplies. They hid things inside here. This is Sister Sarah. This is where they're having the color blindfold. She's cheating.
We also did one on Wednesday night, we set up a table, some of the other lessons we did that too. We set up a table, we had two kids opposite one another, and we put a container in the middle, one container in the middle, and each kid had their own container, and we had a couple of spoons. You know about those fuzzy little balls you can buy in the craft session? We put a whole gob of those in the center, and we blindfolded. First we let them take their spoon and put it in their thing so they could see what they were doing. But then after that, we blindfolded them, and we told them they had to listen. Like, we were supposed to listen to the Holy Spirit so he could think of God. I said, you gotta listen. So they had them little fuzzy balls flying everywhere. But that was a fun game that we did along with blind Bartimaeus. So they enjoyed doing that one.
Just keep talking.
Oh.
Some of the lessons we done, like we talked about the miracles of Jesus before Easter. I think the first part of the year, that's what we done, was like the miracles of Jesus, different things that he done, which was blind Bartimaeus. We talked about Jairus' daughter. We talked about we're fixing to show you that one. The healing, the woman with the issue of blood. This is something that you can do in class, it is really cool. And actually, this is called slush powder. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Is anybody familiar with slush powder? There's actually a YouTube video, and I can share the link with you. This is how we already learned about it. But I'm gonna peel it back where it's really thin. But as you're typing during the lesson, and I can give you guys a copy of this, but now this kind of like breaks it down. I don't know. I found this online, just came across it. But it actually, let me just read it to you, where it talked about the woman with the issue of blood. Where it says, she was a social outcast, thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from these uncleanness, that they die and not in their uncleanness. But it says, but imagine having the issue of blood every day of your life for 12 years. That's 4,383 days, 144 months, 624 weeks, 105,192 hours for 12 years. She bore the emotional and psychological baggage of being unclean and untouchable. Just reading the scripture, sometimes the kids don't understand it, but this just kind of breaks it down. It says there was no hugs, no kisses, or any type of intimacy with the husband, that's even if she had one. She could not prepare her family's food, and that's even if she had a family. She could not do any housework. She couldn't be a wife. She couldn't be a mommy. She had sat in an isolated house for 12 years, staring at the walls. For all intents and purposes, she was as good as dead. But then she hears about Jesus. He comes to her town and he healed others, and she's thinking, can he heal her? So let me get this ready while Sister Sarah kind of lets you.
I think that, like with the older kids that actually went through COVID, they could relate to what it was like, you know, especially when we had to be isolated and things like that.
I also think it is, a lot of our kids deal with bullying, and that's what they should do, they deal with bullying at school. And I telling the kids, I said, you know what, I said, she was bullied in something. I said she weren't, nobody wanted anything to do with her, she was an outcast, she was unclean. I said, nobody wanted anything, they called her names, I said, they probably threw things at her. I said, she was bullied, I said, she suffered, I said, she suffered in silence, by herself, all alone. And that's, we kind of got on to the subject of bullying. And that's when I kind of shared with you, I said, listen, I said, you are who God says you are. I said, it don't matter what the bully says to you or about you. I said, you are who God says you are. I said, you're not a loser. I said, matter of fact, I said, he knows you by name. I said, so when he calls you, he calls your name. I said, he calls you. I said, you are princesses and princesses in God's sight. I said, you are warriors for God. I said, so whatever the enemy tries to make you think and believe, I said, you are not. I said, you are not. So we actually related that to this lesson with the issue of blood. Made that connection with them. And they just sat there. They were just so quiet because there's a few of them in there keep telling me they're being bullied at school, being bullied at school, being bullied at school. And you just try to encourage them the best that you can on our end until something takes place on their end. But we just try to, whatever lesson we go and we try to make it relevant to what they're dealing with now, even as young as they are, even as young as they are. But they were amazed,
But it doesn't take much.
Don't keep reading this.
Let me focus. But this is going to represent is our hymn when she touched the hem of Jesus' garment. I wanted to do this so you guys could just see just how simple. I didn't want to pre-make everything but you couldn't see it. So we wanted to be able to tell.
Jesus should not touch her. She thought Jesus might become unclean if he healed her with a touch. Whosoever touches her shall be unclean. She rushes to the center of town, breathlessly hoping she can still catch him. But then she stops short when she sees that Jesus is surrounded by a crowd of people making their way away from her and toward the center of town. But she's desperate. She must get to Jesus. And in a moment of inspiration, it occurs to her, this Jesus is a great healer. Maybe if she could just touch the hem of his garment. Maybe if she could just quietly make her way through the crowd and touch. Yes, if she could just touch the hem of his garment, then she might be healed. You see, in those days, Jews wore cloaks with tassels on their four corners. The tassels had a blue cord woven into it, which reminded them of God's laws and their duty to keep them all. Many people had an almost superstitious belief that these tassels were sacred objects. It's the only thing that seems to explain the fact that she sought to touch the hem of his garment. So she slowly and methodically makes her way through the crowd. Nobody pays much attention to her. Perhaps her shawl pulls down close to her face. Avoid being recognized as the unclean woman. Some are probably annoyed by being pushed aside by one more woman in the crowd. At least she's close. She hears Jesus and Jairus talking. Quickly she kneels down and brushes her hand against the tassel. And immediately she feels a change in her body. It's like a tingling sensation, a warmth that courses through her body, and she knows she's being healed. We come closest to God, our voice moment. It's easier to hear God when you are stripped of pride and arrogance, when you have nothing to rely on except God.
So we put that slush powder on this paper towel. And this just represents, when she said that her blood dried up. So we bought this off of Amazon slush powder, $6. You can use it more than just the woman with the issue of blood. For Vacation Bible School, we talked about the woman at the well. How if we rely on just regular water, 30 minutes later, 40 minutes later, we're outside playing, we're going to get thirsty again, so we could actually do the slush powder where it dries up when you're thirsty again. And then, Vacation Bible School, I don't have that one.
And the one he did with the woman at the well, he don't use just a little bit of the slush powder. He put it in a red cup so the kids wouldn't see it. And then as he talked about the woman at the well, Jesus said, "You'll never thirst again if you believe in me." And he poured the water in there, and then he held it down, and the water had already congealed in there with that slush powder. So that was pretty cool.
I said, when you talk about, you went with this lady and talk about Jesus, this is actually a magic watering pot. So you'll see where the water, I got a little bit of water right here, right? So when the kids don't, you just see how much water I put in there, but the kids, you would do it where the kids don't see it. So when I do this, my finger here, when you're still telling the lesson and you take your finger off here, you will actually fill back up with water, and you can go back and pour it out again. And while you're still teaching, every time, the fill you float. So this is, we actually got this off a public website. I can link it for you if you want me to. But actually, we went through Brother Butch. He was a children's pastor in Fayetteville, and he was the one that showed us this. But he actually had a bigger version. So I actually tried to find a bigger version and never could find it. But I have a smaller one. You could actually take this giant, put the water red. You could talk about when Jesus turned the water into wine. So there's several things you could do with this. Or you could talk about the water with your head. Wine. That's another good thing, hands-on, that you can do with your kids. It's called the magic mixture. Yeah. And I'll pass this around. There's a little, you can actually, all right, maybe just cover it up while you're teaching. And then when you get ready to pour it out, you just uncover it. And here's some, I've seen this actually idea on Instagram, but it was actually, it was a Hispanic children's ministry where they actually just done the Bible and just drew a picture and put it on the front. And let me find mine. So as you're teaching a lesson, you can, pour your water. But while you're teaching, then the kids will see the window fill up and it's going to be red. This is just, I did this in a few minutes, just a plain old plastic bottle. I printed out maybe 2 pictures of a vase, kind of take them together and to do another lesson for Sunday morning.
Yeah, go ahead. Normally I'd like to start out with the creation, but we, went ahead because I think there was some questions about Moses. The creation, and then I'll talk about Gorham. The days of creation, is a lot you can do with the days of creation. I actually bought this pill bottle at Dollar Tree, and it has each little individual, actually has 7 of them in it. So the kids, every day that every time we talk about what God did on that day, they put whatever he talked about on that day in that particular little pill bottle. This took us a little while. We took us a few Wednesday nights to complete this one, but that was one little activity that we did, and they didn't do that one. I did this one. So I put a little and it goes through the day. Okay, so my sister actually used this one down with the sensory class to give them a little visual. So the kids didn't do that, but I just did this one here for demonstration, so that you can look at that one. And then this was our box. Let's see if
I got one if you don't.
I got my little flat one, my little Dollar Tree flat one here. This was when we were talking about the very beginning. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Well, in the beginning, the earth was void and without form, and there was nothing but complete darkness. So this represented that. There's actually nothing in there, it's just dark. So the kids would look at it first to see how dark it was, and then we had cut a hole at the back, and then you stick your flashlight, and we said when God said there was light, and then the kids could see where light would come on in there. So they thought that was pretty cool. They actually enjoyed that one, so I'm going to pass that in mind, let y'all see that one. And then our last thing that we had, these were, I got these from Dollar Tree for $5. They're the little knockoff version of the bright lights, but they work just as well as the bright lights. And we actually had, my sister Nina and I went to a conference in Hickory.
Yeah.
And they were just giving away stuff that they had that didn't want anymore. So this was a little flowers. I grabbed them. Pretty much they're interchangeable. You can use them with that. But also, we just went on and printed out little pictures. And I put them down the side where they would actually fit in the little bright lights. I bet Dollar Tree was mad at me because I was going to every Dollar Tree I could get to buy these little.
And really, that's a good hands-on activity you can do like on a Wednesday night with kids. After they've been in the classroom and listening to somebody talk for 8 hours, because I'm an educator, I want to do something that's engaging, something that's kind of fun. They don't want to go to class on a Wednesday night and just listen to somebody else talking. They want to do something that's hands-on and fun.
What was that? Anywho, your batteries will, that's on this one. Your batteries go in there, and we just simply lay those on top, try to cut them where they fit size, and then they put their little pegs in there, turn it on, and then we just kept switching it out. But I went to every I don't even know if I can find their little things. I see nothing Rockingham regular Dollar Tree, trying to find these little things. So even Dollar Tree has lots of things that you
And that cutout you got there, did you get?
I just went online, printed, Sun,
Okay,
just Sun, image.
okay.
But I looked for this particular one, so they would be able to put their drive, they had to put the little drive in it, but,
Now, that one, mine came from Amazon. Now, Amazon has the refills, like when we done the Days of Creation, I just found like the packs with like animals in it, or a sun where they could actually, do it on a Wednesday night, with the light bright. And you probably could take that regular one, the ones that I have, and it'll probably fit on that one as well.
there was a few in, actually, they put them in with the one from Wallace Street. They ever had like a few I could probably use for creation, like the butterfly. These are the ones that the ones that Anyway, it did come, little $5, it did come with, their own little, you just pick out the ones that you can use for, creation. Just $5.
Now the pigs come with them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. They have their own little heads and their own little, a few of the sheets.
Few of the sheets,
Yes.
but you got
Right,
yours
so I printed
online.
some more that kind of goes on with the, things creation as we were doing that.
So you bought up one and everywhere else?
They might be stopped. Yeah, they just stopped it now. It's about last year, I think it was.
And another thing you can buy from Dollar Tree is the Legos. Dollar Tree sells the Legos now, and even like the little individual box Legos where you can actually build on it. They actually sell those at Dollar Tree.
I haven't seen this magnetic towels there too. I haven't seen it in a while though, but they have had the magnetic towels there.
Sometimes, I don't know how many of y'all do TikTok shop. Sometimes you can get the magnetic towels on sale on TikTok shop, kind of cheap.
Yeah, because I got two magnetic ones.
Get ahead of my head. So I'll hold on for what I was gonna say. I'll try to remember to say it. You want to get the armor got now? Anybody have any questions about anything we've done so far? This was also, like I did with the team leagues, I also did this with the Days of Creation. So I put them in individual bags, so same thing with these, like the plagues, you can hide them around the room, but the kids find like a scavenger hunt, let them find it. So I actually went through the Days of Creation and just did little bagging of those two. That was for the little game that we gave them.
Well, she said that we got a break in about 2 minutes, so if y'all got any questions, or?
When you say object list, what are you referring to? Some sort of hands-on?
Hands-on, yeah.
Like she did with this water right here, where you turn the water into wine, that would be
that's-
one.
And we bought this for our teachers, maybe a couple years ago, but actually, we actually purchased this off of Amazon. But, it's called Faith and Science, but there's object lessons in here, and it goes with, different lessons out of the Bible. I'll pass it around because if you go to your index, it'll tell you exactly what lesson it will go there too.
I was just gonna ask a question of reference in your part, but as a whole, like how many teachers do you actually have?
We have 2 teachers in every class. So we got our baby class, there's 2 in there. We've got our sensory class, there's 2 in there. Our preschool class, there's 2. This is Sarah's class, there's 2. Our older elementary kids, there's 2 in there. Our preteen class, there's 2. And our teen class, there may be 3.
And so y'all usually do, y'all same teachers teach on Sunday afternoon?
Yes, ma'am.
We rotate those, like one Sunday, one teacher will teach, and the
Next
other
Sunday.
do, all right, we like to rotate. Now, the object lessons, I usually do all the object lessons. That's a little bit.
You know, I would like, that's the way I want them to teach, is like one person teaches one Sunday while the next person is preparing for the next week. Because you can't do this without teaching, and then you'll be the only one that's teaching every single Sunday. So if you can find it, if you don't have any help, ask for some help.
Ain't that right? We just found over in our church.
Also, when we're talking about the Legos, I'll pass this around. This is actually like, Bible stories at the Bible that you can build with Legos. I'll pass this around. This will probably build. We do this for children's church. We don't do children's church every Sunday. We do it once a month. So I'll pass this around.